I remember days they used to laugh at me. Used to show them on my records talking casually. Used to say it was a passion on my path to be. Then they told me that I couldn't, so I had to be. Tell me what they really think about it now. Used to hate it, but I guarantee they're proud. Had to do it just to show them that I could, yeah. Now I finally think I took it where I should, yeah. Had a jokes on you and now you're on and laughing. I did a whole lot of winning. Look, it came from a passion. I see a whole lot of knowings. I could see now in public and that may think a lot of things. Man, at least think something, now you the judge. Hey, now tell me where you ended up. Yeah. Look, I bet it was a simple job. Yeah. Look, I went and took a different route. Yeah. Look, that's why my life is different now. Back in my feelings, look, when I wasn't so gifted and I was learning to do this, and all I heard were the critics, and I don't blame you for that shit. Look, I was way out the basis, but I just needed some talent so I could wait this to greatness. Oh yeah, you ain't ever think this, no, no, no. Stop me while I started, homie, whoa, whoa, whoa. Now this shit settled, it's go better and better, but I'll always remember, yeah, yeah.
Taylor Cavanaugh, what's happening, man? Welcome
What's
to
up,
That One
C-Rock,
Podcast,
dude?
bro.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you popping in here. You know, look, I live on the East Coast, so some of my people that I want to connect with, I don't expect them to just fly over to me. I'm gonna go find them, and so I've looked for an event, a time when the event was going to be in San Diego, and lined this up. You connected me with the studio here. Shout out to the Contact Factory, Kevin. Appreciate you doing that. And yeah, let's get into it, bro. So
Yeah, stoked.
first of all, I want to know. I'm bouncing around because my curiosity is the way it is.
Yeah, I
but,
dig it.
You know, you're in the U.S. military, and then
Yep.
you went to the French Legion,
I did.
right? They don't
Yep.
pay well,
No, they don't, dude.
right? So,
yeah.
like, military doesn't really pay well either, but there's some benefits. But like when you go to French Legion, I think I did some research, and I think I saw that it didn't pay well. So why? I got to start with this question: like, is it just a thing that you like get off on, or what was the? Because it's not patriotic necessarily, right?
No,
Because
it
it's not
definitely
US.
was. No, it wasn't.
What
Dude,
is
I
it?
wish it was that, but it was actually out of need, man. It was actually out of need because I had painted myself into a corner where, man, I was in the SEAL teams for 7 years here at SEAL Team 7, which in San Diego. And I had collected some damage, bros. I had some damage with a bar fight and some other stuff spread out over a couple years. But I had my final incident, and Navy JAG was just like, this fucking guy. I had good rep, and things were going well, but I had two big incidents, and they were like, my top secret clearance was now pulled and flagged, and this and that. After a couple deployments, I was
Wait a
prepping.
minute, do you need top secret clearance when you're a SEAL?
Not everybody. You need a secret.
Okay.
I happened to have a top secret because I had went to Yemen in 2013.
Okay.
And for a deployment, one of them. And long story short, I got tested for performance enhancing drugs. Steroids, man. And I lit every fucking light on that test up. They sent it to the Olympic Testing Center. It was no zero tolerance. And so I took a general discharge.
Why don't they want people taking?
Man, they want the control. And I understand it. I'm no victim here, right? I brought the heat on myself, but they want the control. They don't want guys off doing shit. I mean, you could do things and get hurt. I mean, for me, I probably was a little bit angrier than I probably should have been, but I don't really put the testament to that. It was being on the firewater a little too hard. That's really what it was.
Yeah.
And it was just the control, and they look at it like a drug.
Okay.
So zero tolerance. My opinion aside, right? I do think a little testosterone probably do operators good, and they're opening up about that.
Were you testing at all, like your panels and biomarkers?
My panels were good. My panels, my health was
before
good.
you started taking enhancement.
Yeah.
Did you look at it then before that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And so testosterone, do you remember what it was and then what it went to?
Dude, mine was low, dude. Mine was pretty damn low. Okay. But I had done steroids and testosterone, dude, since I was fucking 15.
Oh, did you really?
Oh,
okay.
bro, we were down in Tijuana, Mexico, bro, because I grew up here. We would drive across the border before football practice and to go to the strip clubs and whatever and be back at like 15 years
So
old,
most
bro.
people don't know this. Tijuana's literally, you can see it from some of these tall buildings in San Diego.
Dude. And this was
When it's clear out.
pre-9/11, bro. So we would go down, bro, and just walk back across. There'd be a guy leaning back on like a plastic chair walking into Mexico. It was so casual, dude. Like, bring stuff back. It was way more wild.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been on it for a while, and then when you take that
Off and on too, not all continuous, but like scattered.
Okay, so then does it suppress your testosterone when you're on for those days?
I think it probably didn't help.
Okay.
Right? It probably
Gotcha.
but I had years of time where I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
And went back east to school for a little bit. But to kind of get to why I went to the Legion,
Thanks for keeping me on track.
Yeah, well, I need to get kept on track too. I like it, bro. We're the same. We got that powerful energy, man. And dude, had worked 2 years in the civilian world. Right, like I had to go to jail. Got walked out of jail and walked into a pretty damn good career that I had set up for myself through some contacts I leveraged the country clubs here and shit. And as a residential. A supervisor for a residential developer in the area. Large, huge project, $750 million project down south. And we were doing 19 million in sales the first year. And I'm like, man, dude, I did a pretty lateral good step.
Yeah.
But I was stacking bad habits, man. Adderall, Xanax, weed every day. And this was just kind of like, but I was performing, and I had the beautiful girlfriend in the house by the beach and the truck. I'm like, I'm good, man.
Yeah.
But
functioning.
The chi wasn't centered, right? I was emotionally volatile. Yeah. I was violent with people in my life, like just couldn't be told things and just not, I would lie to myself and say I was a good guy, but I wasn't living my best life, right? And then about a year goes by and then I move into launching a cannabis distribution company because it was the first year it was legal. Surprisingly enough, right across the street, I was up in the Procopio Tower. Yeah. That was the venture capital guy, the head, the big dog. And so I get brought in as the chief security officer to build out the facility in Palm Springs. And now I'm pitching decks. Now I'm pitching decks for his company. Now I'm being promoted. Now I'm the CEO of this company and talking to congressmen.
And were you all tatted up then too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have the neck fully done yet, but most of the body was done. And then I'm stacking a fentanyl habit on top of this. Okay. So I'm doing... at night. But here's the thing. I wasn't like off partying being weird. Dude, I would snort fentanyl and like do work emails till like 3 a.m. I was like kind of weird like that. And then I'd sleep for 3 hours and take Adderall and get up and then be moving and grooving and still having these measures of success. And so, but I was bending reality and you can't do it that long as I'm sure you've talked to people or have experienced in your life. You're just, your karmic debt stacking.
But fentanyl, right? Like, a little tiny bit can kill you.
Oh, dude. So, I went tits down fucking multiple times, bro. Smashed my face open, stitches on my face. I just like rally and like go get stitched up and fucking... Dude, it was insane looking back. But I just was so lost in the sauce and had lost self-awareness. And other people could see the speed wobbles.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? But except me. Yeah. Which how it usually goes is you're the last one to know.
But you got it. But the thing about this is like the training that you've gone through and what they build you into being a SEAL became your detriment in a way too, because it made you so strong and like being able to handle a lot of things that you shouldn't have been doing.
I would shake shit off that probably other people would have shook at them, but I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, yeah.
I still got this.
Yeah.
Right. I'm in control when I was not in control. And I didn't really I still didn't think I was addicted, bro. That was the thing. Because I wasn't doing it all day and I would be clear-headed throughout the day, but I was finding was taking Adderall, right? And then that's it, I'm working.
Were you hiding it from anybody, like everybody?
No, I was hiding not like super hiding it, but like my girlfriend didn't, she knew, but I wasn't like out in the open doing this stuff, right? But the rest of the stuff I was open about.
Okay.
But now I was finding I was still going to the gym. I was still in shape. I would go to the gym at 5 p.m. and be sipping vodka at the gym in my fucking shaker, thinking it was totally normal. I'm like, we're done with work. Cool. Gonna wind down. I'm like,
damn.
It was just totally like, that's what I thought was normal, bro. And I'd been doing that for like a year and a half. So, and it all came crashing down as it does. I was out in Palm Springs. I was having a work meeting, but I'm out there with my girlfriend. I go face down, smash my face open. She kind of found out about it, bleeding. I had to go to the hospital. It was just kind of like, it all fell apart, right? Fell on my face, quite literally. Yeah. The VC Capital guy who said something to me, and he goes, hey, dude, you were an asset, now you're a liability. That, dude, I still get the fucking chills.
That's a great line. We talk about that all the time, dude.
Dude, and as you know, as men, dude, we're assets or liabilities. There's no middle ground here.
Yep.
And maybe it's a childhood thing, dude, but I'm like terrified of not being valuable. Terrified of like being seen as like not capable.
Yeah.
And or
a liability.
A benefiting member of the tribe. That was like that sat with me, and I still to this day think about that. And I was in that tower right across. It's weird coming back here like full circle, dude. And I look up at that Procopio Tower. But I go, okay, well, I'm going to leave then. And I sold all my shit, sold my shares in the company. I was like, he's like, hey, we have some business deals out in Hawaii on the Big Island. Maybe just go chill out for a few months and then we'll get back on it. I was really kind of getting marooned. There were some other personal things that don't really matter here, but I leave. And now I'm on this island, Big Island, Hawaii, near Hilo. People know, hey, shout out Hilo. Love that. Really, my heart's there, man. Really powerful energy. And I'm there for a few months. I get off opiates. I just like white knuckle it, which was, dude, I didn't think I was addicted, Mike, until but I didn't realize I had never not done it.
Right,
It never came
Holy
up.
cow,
so
man.
I just stopped, bro. And I was like, all right, I'm good. First day 1, then day 2, then day 3. Now I haven't slept for 5 days. Like I can't sleep, dude. I'm like, fuck. And I'm crawling out of my skin like, wow. That devil had its hooks in me, man.
Yeah.
I took myself to the emergency room and was like, hey, I'm a prior Navy SEAL. I'm not here to trying to get drugs. Like I need to go to sleep. I need something.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
And so they gave me some Ambien, some non-narcotic something. And I got a little sleep. And then I woke up and I was like coming out of the fog. But I had shed that. And I haven't had a problem with that since. That was done. That was done for me. And this is 2019 to kind of give you a frame.
Yeah. Right before COVID.
Yeah, right before COVID, man. And so now I'm purposeless, which, as you know, man, as guys that we go through these seasons of having purpose and then maybe losing the path a little bit, dude. That was powerful for me. I'm like, okay, I'm burning time. Like, what's the next step? And that was a real low few months, and then I'm running out of money. Right. That now I'm out of money, and it snuck up quick on me because I still wasn't really living totally right. I was going to the gym trying to get my feet under me, but still drinking daily and still doing Adderall and stuff, and still trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. And then I realized, dude, oh shit, I got $6 in my bank account, and I'm in my truck, and I have my Airbnb had run out, my lease on my apartment, and I'm going, let me go drive to the jungle.
Makes me sick to my stomach.
Bro, it's still to this day.
I'm triggered.
Yeah, it's still to this day because it's terrifying, bro.
Yeah.
And I drive down to the jungle on the eastern tip, right kind of near where the volcano's erupting. Way out in the jungle where I knew nobody was going to fuck with me and I could actually sit and think. But and I turned the car off, dude. And I remember all the weight falling on me, and it just went quiet. And it felt like 2 years of chaos had just stopped. And I realized I went, oh, this is how it happens. $6 in my bank account, no gas, no anything. I'm like, I leave my phone on and I go, all right, the call's gonna come. Right? That call, bro. Right when at the 11th hour, bro. And it didn't come. And I sat in that car for 3 days. I had a sawed-off shotgun on my passenger seat. And I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna fucking ice myself, bro. I was done. I was totally done trying. And I wasn't sad. I wasn't boo-hooing. Right. I was like, well, I'm tired, bro. I've gone up and down, and this is it. And that was kind of the and I'll tell you a little bit about that scene, but that's where I was when I decided to go into the French Foreign Legion, man.
And you knew about the French Foreign Legion before that?
I did. It had come on my radar, I think, because I had a little bit of a checkered past growing up, and I had a lot of arrests, misdemeanors, nothing bad, but drinking in public, DUI, it's dumb shit. And getting into the United States military, I had to go to jail, request to go to jail after college, and serve time to get my probation commuted to go in to try to even enlist.
Right.
And so I went to jail up in Bay Area, and after getting out, I was turned down by the Marine Corps for my tattoos, turned down by the Army for criminal background, and then where I wanted to be. So I wanted to be a SEAL since I was a kid, but I was scared of failing and ending up on a boat, which I didn't want. And they said, okay, we can work with this, but it's going to be it's going to be a long time till you earn your SEAL contract. And during that time is when I started doing research, and I found out about the Foreign Legion. Okay. I'm like, okay, gotcha. They take checkered guys, but let me keep pushing this United States thing first.
Gotcha. Wow, man. I just got to take all that in for a minute. So then, so you're in Maui. What was the
Hawaii, the Big Island?
I mean, Hawaii.
I wish I would have been. Maui would have been nice.
You're in Hawaii, and you're thinking about just ending it. Did you have a surrender moment where you just surrendered,
bro?
And are you are you a believer? Where are you with that?
I'm real. I've always felt a connection with God, and I believe in God, right? And my whole entire life, I always kind of felt like a really clear communication. since I was a child, and I was exposed to different religions and stuff growing up. But I would consider myself a Christian, right?
Yep.
I would consider myself, and I was in that jungle, man, and I would go through these walks. Like I went straight native, dude. I have no shirt on, like no shoes, and I'm walking through the jungle, and I'm looking over the cliff, man, and I'm like, I'll just jump off this fucking cliff, dude. But I'm like, nah, it's not high enough, dude. I'm gonna just get all smashed on the rocks. And I'm walking, and in this walk, it was one particular moment, and I was sitting on this fucking piece of wood, this log, and it was like this voice, man, really booming voice, as clear as day. And he goes, "You pussy," dead serious. And he goes, "Listen to your internal dialogue. Me, I, poor me. You have a mom, a sister. What kind of damage are you gonna leave? Get outside of yourself for a minute." That was the tone. And I went, man, I am being selfish, man. And I went, all right, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to do it with my boots on. I was like, I'm going to go in the French Foreign Legion. Fuck it, let's do it. And that was the moment I made the decision. And 8 days later, man, I had taken some fast cash loans out, ditched my truck at somebody's house in Hawaii and my stuff, and I was in France, bro. I was in Paris.
Now, what was that like compared to being a SEAL?
Oh, dude, it was like, I was talking to Marcus Luttrell, was at his house, and he goes, dude, I bet you that was like apples and cement. He goes, that's how it was. It was so different in terms of autonomy, the culture. Here as a SEAL, and also the Foreign Legion is a highly trained infantry unit. It's not special forces. So you have a lot more thumb on. That paired with the culture of a 200-year-old institution of criminals, thieves, whatever, speaking different languages, and they have to smash them into a cohesive fighting unit. You need massive discipline. And so
egos,
it was like,
everything,
It was like a baptism in humility, man. Right. It really was. It was me. Hey, Navy SEAL, come clean this fucking toilet. You know, I did that for 2.5 years, man, before I started to like stack a little street cred there and go on deployments and stuff. It was hard, dude. It was a really tough pill to swallow.
How long did you stay in?
Half a decade. So it's about 5 years is the initial contract. Okay. Mine was like 4 and some change.
Okay. This is just crazy stuff, man. So, all right. So we're in the French Legion, and did you go on like what about operations compared to SEALs operations?
Yeah. So the mission set was interesting. I knew there was some interesting mission sets, and just so anybody that's watching knows, the French Foreign Legion is a foreign fighter unit in France, comprised of only foreigners
for French purposes, for their benefit.
For France. Pour la France.
For France, yeah.
And so it's like it's a branch of the French military.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's 200-year-old. It was started by some old king, and to funnel foreigners out of the bars and the streets and back onto the battlefield with the carrot of French citizenship. It's modeled after the Roman legions. Okay. So you serve your time, you do whatever. And they've been fighting in every war since Algeria to Afghanistan.
Right.
Like every war. It's about 7,000 guys spread across worldwide at different regiments and deployments. Really heavy in Africa, heavy in South America, heavy in South Pacific, and also Europe. So they're spread out. And they don't have the political pressure of French guys coming back in body bags. They can use foreigners. Yeah. So it's kind of an interesting element. And it's a one-stop shop. They have their own cavalry, parachute regiment, engineering, medical, all that within those 7,000 guys.
Gotcha.
It's 150 nations represented. So I think the only nations that aren't allowed are like North Korea, and it was Cuba at some point, but that's probably lifted. But man, dude, my graduating class, and I'll tell you about the selection because it's kind of unique, but it was Thailand, Mongolia, a bunch of different countries in Africa, South Africa, Chad, Cote d'Ivoire, and also, Colombia, Venezuela, and like one American. There's not many of us. But a lot of Eastern Europeans, Ukrainians, Romanians.
How about the mission comparison to SEALs?
Yeah, the mission comparison is they do direct action all the way to security. SEALs is specific as a special operations unit. So you're going to be more embedded. You're going to be doing just a different type of mission sets, not as much direct action. So a lot more security and shit like that. I deployed to South America, and we did interdiction of illegal gold mining for deep jungle operations in Guyane Francais. A lot of people don't know France has territory in South America. It's north of Brazil and just east of Venezuela. We were on the Suriname border patrolling and blowing up illegal gold mines and breaking their shit up and doing all that it's the Wild West down there, bro.
Was it fun?
Dude, it was hard.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it fun. I would call it interesting.
Okay.
Dude,
Yeah.
because they were like, "Hey, Navy SEAL, bro, you're tough, right? Well, here's the chainsaw. You're gonna carry this and also the sledgehammer and
Gotcha.
you're pumping for 14 days
Yeah.
in the jungle. It's heavy, man, and you can't carry enough water.
So it's not shooting at people and stuff like that as much. It's
No,
more labor.
they have some issues with
More labor.
guys like outlaw groups and stuff, bands and that. But we didn't get in any like contacts out there. It's mostly just like running people off and breaking down their stuff.
You mentioned the selection process.
Yeah.
So
The
tell us about
selection
that.
process is unique because to actually start the process, there's no application, there's no calling ahead, there's no anything. The only way to do it is there's 2 places, one in South France at the headquarter regiment in Aubin, and then one outside of Paris. And you have to just go knock on the fucking door. Bag, passport, and you knock on this big ass iron and wood gate. It says Legion Étrangère.
So you flew to
Legion.
France not knowing if you were going to be able to get in?
No,
or anything.
dude, I
You
cut
just-
up my credit cards too, bro, outside the gate. Cut up my credit cards, bro. I burned the boats, dude. It was a terrible idea looking back, but I was like,
Gee.
I said a prayer, bro. Dude, there's this, I needed to get drugs out of my system too. I touched down. I knew they'd drug test me. It's the military. So I was like, I need a few days to really flush my system. Just the weed and stuff. You know, it wasn't anything crazy, and I would go run up to the Sacré-Cœur, this beautiful church, like that's on a high point in Paris. Dude, and I went in there and like the nuns are singing, dude, and it's an unbelievable church, like bricks from the 1600s and stuff. And I was like, man, dude, I don't know what I'm doing out here, man, but this is gonna be an interesting story. I was like, just watch out for me, man. That's all I said, dude. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And I went, took my train, and was staying at these cheap hostels for a few days while I was doing this. And then took my train and went and knocked on the door, dude. And you give them your passport. And the first thing you told me to do, man, is get up on the pull-up bar. It's like the first thing. I went on like a Sunday night by myself. And I didn't see that passport again for 3 years. 2.5 years, bro. They didn't see the passport because if you make it, they keep it. And you have to go through about a 2.5 year process of vetting to get your real name back because they give you a fake name, fake European social security number. My name was Trent Clayson. and they give you a computer.
TC,
so you're operating,
TC still?
TC, yeah, that's what they do like that on purpose. They keep your initials and they move your birth date around a little bit. But dude, then it was just a process of IQ tests, medical screenings, dental, head to toe, normal stuff, psychological evaluations, Interpol background checks. That's initial pre-selection. Then you go through another layer of selection. What they funnel all the guys to the headquarter regiment. And that's like, they call it Gestapo interviews. It's full interrogations. Mine were long because they were like, what the fuck's a Navy SEAL doing here? Like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Right? But they don't want issues with the United States government. They don't want you here for war crimes, any sexual crimes, anything like that's no-go. And so they just dug in, man. And that whole process is about a month. I mean, you're still in almost civilian clothes for a lot of it too. And it's just a bunch of guys. And it's about 1 out of 15 guys that actually come knock on the door will actually get selected to go to boot camp.
Okay. And did you make a lot of friendships? And is it like a brotherhood once you got in? Or not?
No. Dude, it's hard because the power of language, as you know, as a guy who's a communicator.
Yeah.
Dude, if you can't speak and joke, and we all just, because you have to learn French.
Yeah.
So a bunch of guys who don't speak French are all speaking shitty French to each other. You know, and with different accents. My French has a Russian accent, man. Because
That's a Russian accent.
yeah, dude, my French has a Russian accent. And but slowly, I definitely still have good friends that I stay in contact with now. And guys from South Korea. And the stories behind why guys are there is fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fascinating, dude.
Well, look, I've interviewed over 1,000 people, and I say that because I've seen these patterns, right, of people that have had alcohol, drug problems, problems with the law, rebels, all this stuff, right? But like, there's always a core problem. Like, have you ever gone back and really try to go back to the beginning and identify like what was missing? What were you chasing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what was it?
That's part of my major story.
Was your dad? Did you like have a dad in your life? Or?
Yeah, I just talked to my dad before, but it was tumultuous, man. My dad had a lot of problems with drugs and alcohol. Was in and out. I grew up in San Diego, like out here in the '80s, bro. It was a lot different then, and it was tumultuous, a lot of tension. But I don't really put it on that so much because my parents still love me and they were kind of in and out. My mom is a rock; she's a teacher, and I always had sports pushed and supported in that way. So I always felt good about that. But I never really questioned that specific thing, Mike, until I was in the Legion, and I was in this Foreign Legion barracks room, the only Navy SEAL French Foreign Legionnaire ever that they have on record. And I'm sitting in there going, fuck, I'm still not happy. Still kind of fucking up on the weekend. I'm honing it in, but I still was like, had this, what's next shit. And so Ukraine's kicking off. So now I'm looking at mercenary groups in Ukraine and Africa. And I'm like, dude, I just felt this. I'm in my late 30s at this point. And I go, oh, it's me. There's no external validation that's going to like make me feel whole.
Right.
And that was when I go, oh, all right, let me just go back to the drawing board and like unlearn some shit. Because obviously how I moved through the world, I had these cycles of self-sabotage, man. And breaking it all down and like fucking and luckily I have like some ability to like build shit back up, but I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore, man.
Yeah, it's like a cycle, a loop. You keep going through the same loop.
1000%, man.
Yeah.
And drinking too much, just kind of losing the purpose though, right? Like kind of when a man doesn't have true purpose, he distracts himself with pleasure.
Yeah.
And I was falling into that still. So I really started to just go, dude, if I want to get better, I want life to get better, I need to get better. So I go, all right, when have I been the most happy? Well, when I've been the most disciplined, right? Even in the Foreign Legion, I'm getting up at 5:30. I'm like, it's not enough. There's difference from external discipline and self-imposed discipline. I'm like, I'm getting up at fucking 3:30. So I started getting up at 3:30, working out in the bathroom, but really having a mindful morning, which is a big, huge part of my foundational like clarity. Mindful morning, not looking at my phone, praying a little bit, getting centered, visualizing, moving a little bit, right? That's kind of the core. And I started doing that every fucking day, like no days off. Then I started tracking my food a little bit better. Then I started training a little bit better. Then getting more focused on like the next steps, not going to the bar, not saving my money, just being a lot more focused on where I was trying to go. Like, are my daily actions aligned with where I'm going? If it's not, it's trash. Yeah. And so then I just did that on rinse and repeat for a few years.
You started seeing results.
And my results were, dude, I was happy in the Foreign Legion in a barracks room. They would call me Monsieur Soleil, Mr. Sunshine, because I'd be like, what's up, guys? And I went, oh, I was suicidal in my truck with the world, right? Or chaos. Now I'm here with nothing and having the best days of my life. I went, I could teach people how to do this, man. And I just kind of packaged what I did and then just kind of show people what I did. And that was really, that's that transcending of self, which is true purpose, which you touched on, Mike, is like, the whole goal of all this isn't acquisition and self-actualization until you die. Everybody knows it's not fulfilling. You have to self-actualize and then transcend self at some point. You have to show other people the way. Yeah, that's important. That's a transition that you made after the French Legion. So. Yeah. All right, so did you ever go to Ukraine or anything? No. Okay. We went to, when Ukraine kicked off, they sent us to Estonia. Okay. They sent us to the Russian border in Estonia with the Enhanced Forward Presence Battle Group, which was a French contingent, so we deployed with NATO technically. Dude, we'd roll out just on these flex patrols with like 82 tanks from UK. It was UK, France, we were the French Foreign Legion contingent, Netherlands, I think, Netherlands and the Estonians, right? And it was just, that was the cohesion, that was the unit of cohesion, dude. And it was just, we were there for 5 months, 4 months up on the Russian border, kind of just doing flex patrols, but we never went into Ukraine. So purpose, right? The mission. Because what's important is when you identify a mission and purpose, it gives you binary decisions. Yeah. And you mentioned chaos a lot, right? And I'm paying attention here. It's like chaos, it's impossible to be successful when there's chaos because it leads to confusion. Mm-hmm. So when you have binary decisions, you're able to say, does this go towards the mission or away from it? Yep. And I always talk about these 4 areas. It's your thoughts, your words, your actions, and the people that you keep around you, which is just as important as anything, right? Yep. Do these people align with the mission? Mm-hmm. If they not, get them out of here. Get them out of here. It's not personal. Just get them out of here. My thoughts. How are my thoughts? Are they aligning with the mission or are they pulling me away? Mm-hmm. Building or destroying. Binary decisions. And that clears things up. And once you have that clarity, then you're on your way. And it still takes time. So you had to do that.
And what did you identify as your mission at the time, though?
I knew my mission was, I've learned my mission is raising of consciousness and mindfulness in people about their day, what they're doing, their self-awareness. That's really where it started or where it ended. Now, but then it was, man, I want to just share my story and get people out of a fucking rut.
Yeah.
Like, that was it. Like, dude, if you're, so I said, that's when I put the camera down and kind of sent it. My first video is in my Foreign Legion barracks room. You see on my YouTube, I'm still in a uniform in my barracks room. Every stream of consciousness, and I was like, hey, I'm a Navy SEAL. I was a Navy SEAL and fucked all this up, and now here I am, feeling great. And this was the path I took. And so I just kind of started the story, and I got a lot of messages from guys like, hey, dude, I was going to kill myself, and I didn't, like hundreds of emails. And I was like, oh, okay, there's something here. Okay, well, there's something. My story's not just mine. And then when I kind of got out of myself and started having that philosophical lens on my approach, it really made things binary, which I liked because it was, bro, simplify and streamline. True sophistication is simplified.
Yeah.
And that goes with your life. Like, look at architecture. As things evolve, what do things do? The lines get cleaner. Technology, things get cleaner, more simple. Our lives should be the same. Simplify it down, what I do, how I think, what I consume, not just my body, but my, ditch the porn, ditch the bullshit, ditch the people that aren't really moving the meter for you, challenging you, inspiring you. And a lot of that, so there needs to be a period of isolation, right? When God wants to make a man or woman great, there's a period of isolation. That's biblical.
Bro, Jesus went off into the woods
Absolutely.
over and over again. They were like, why does he go off by himself? That's what we're supposed to be like as believers. Are supposed to be more and more like Jesus every day.
Yes.
Get closer, closer. Well, why wouldn't we do that if he did it? So it's 100%.
It's required for self-assessment. You can't think when there's noise around. That quite literally people running there sucking, talking, or giving you inputs to get honest. And that goes with any type of distraction. And so I take that first in the morning, right? If you can't create that type of isolation for you, like it's bestowed on you. I think you can do that every day, right?
Yeah.
Have that absolute pure quiet talk so you can actually process who you are, man, and how you process things. What are your triggers? What are your friction points? What are your insecurities? All that.
That's the next topic I wanted to cover.
Yeah.
Right? Because like the outward appearance of you, some people would be intimidated because it's a reflection of themselves, right? And they're looking at it like, oh, dude's tatted up, he's tough, he's a SEAL and all this, and they don't think you have any insecurities. That doesn't go through their mind.
Oh, dude.
Right? But like,
what
were some of the things that you could identify as insecurities?
Dude, I still work and struggle with the you're not enough. From whatever that is. You haven't achieved enough, you're not doing enough. I've gotten better at just kind of understanding that, dude, it's okay. You're in a constant process of growth. As long as you're doing that, you're fine.
Because you compare to people.
Absolutely.
And you're like,
it's a thief of joy. And so really getting more connected with that higher power, and that connection to that higher power is something that I think if people tap into really, that you start to see the signs. The universe talks to us in numbers and people, and and as you know, there's so much orchestration and things that happen so symbiotically that I don't believe in chance, right? I just don't believe in it. I don't. In my life, there's been a lot of times that I know it's not true, right? So when you move like that, you can flow, right? You can really flow.
Well, I said to a friend of mine who's I consider a mentor in business, right? She's had a lot of success. She's had exits. And I said to her one time, man, I feel like I should be so much further along than I am financially, business success. And she said, I don't want to ever hear you say that again. I don't want to hear that come out of your mouth again. She said, I destroyed my family for my business. I sacrificed my family, my relationship with my kids so that I could have success in business. You haven't. I've been married 23 years, 2 healthy kids, great family life. And she says, I wish I had that.
Yeah.
And here you're complaining that you're not further along.
Yeah.
She said, you did that first. Now it's time to blow up.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think we take enough time to like really look at what we've accomplished and the things that we've done versus what we haven't done yet or what we don't have yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Embrace the pace. What the universe doesn't, with that old Zen proverb, the universe doesn't rush, but everything gets done. Yeah. You don't see a tree grow. Right. It just fucking grows consistently and always. And that was like, dude, that's what I've just decided I'm going to do, dude. No backsteps, no bullshit. every day, just nice and consistent. And I just love the time, man. I love the time passing and it nice and slow because I know, dude, I'm just gonna get better.
Yeah.
While other people will fall off. I hope it takes longer. I hope it takes as long as it takes because I fell in love with the process so much and it's worked for me. People are like, oh, dude, do you wanna? All people reach out, dude, do you wanna do this little gadgety thing and you'll have? I go, no, I don't. And they're like, why? Don't you want more out? No. I don't. I want to have the consistent, nice, thick foundation of building of like real relationships with people.
Yeah.
Sitting down here, talking, going on podcast, meeting people. And I'll go as if I'm doing that, I'll let it grow how it grows. That's all I give a fuck about. I'm not going to force this shit.
Same thing for me, man. I mean, I have big visions and there's a gap from where I am to where I want to go, but like it's a journey.
There has to be the gap.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and you
That's
can't get
what you're
pissed off
doing.
that there's a gap, right?
Yeah.
And so I switched to servant mentality. Like I just want to help and serve people, and it seems like everything I'm always taken care of. I have everything I need. I'm always have enough. I've always had enough. Just focus on serving people. So that was something that you did. And now, what are you doing now? And what do you focus on now to serve? Because I noticed that's one of the mission, part of the mission.
Dude, I want to make people's lives better by just showing them a better blueprint. Just a better, simple blueprint. That's it. And the ripple effect, what I've seen I do everything one-on-one, my coaching, as far as now. I really like that connection with my clients. So I do.
Who are they, by the way?
Anybody who wants to get better.
Okay.
I work from high school kids all the way up to, I have 7-year-old women on my roster, right?
Okay.
And it's all tailored, right? It's like, it's not about the perfect workout or the perfect fucking diet. It's not. Let's be quite honest. What it's about is having a plan. You're not going to go build a house and just start smashing boards together and expect there to be some substantial. So I go, here, if they don't know what to do, there's so much information out there. It's like analysis paralysis. And I fell into that. I didn't know about macros and all this shit. And I was, dude, it's kind of started because I was in the Foreign Legion and I'm like, dude, I'm fucking tired. Like I'm doing all this right stuff, but I'm just exhausted. I could barely make it up the stairs. I'm like, I got to talk to somebody who like knows about this stuff. And so I reached out and invested and did that because I'm like, hey, give me the cliff notes of all your, just deliver it to me and then I'll execute it. I want simple plans because Fraser Bailey, I love that, the guy I'll connect you with, but he's unbelievable in the space. He calls it collapsing the time horizon. I love that term. So I was like, collapse the time horizon, give me the cliff notes and the synopsis of what's happening here. Boom, did that, started to feel better immediately. Then that was like the final piece when I fixed in the nutrition piece. And I was like, damn, dude, I'm having good days every day. And I used to have a lot of bad days.
I love it. I love it.
And I was like, bro, dead serious. I can't remember the last time I had a bad fucking day. Dead serious. I'm not lying. I've had bad moments.
Yeah,
bad shit has happened. But I have not had a bad day in a long time. Years.
Yeah.
Years. And the last bad day I had was self-induced, right? A few years ago. So I go, hey, man, here's this blueprint. Wake up at this time. Take these supplements. Eat like this. Here's how you track your food. Here's how you kind of move. Start there. Let's get momentum.
Yep.
Then when people start getting that momentum, the weight starts coming off, they start feeling better, the self-worth is built through the work, then we'll start tacking on some more Gucci stuff. And that's the beautiful piece is you're never going to arrive, right? You're just going to, so then we just work like that and we just get more and more advanced, but it's all about the momentum.
I saw you squatting the other day and I thought I was guessing the weight and I was like, so I went down to the gym by the Petco Park. Yeah. And I'm hitting legs today. Yeah. And I said I was going to just do 225 and just do some reps. And then I'm like, fuck it, man, screw it. So I packed on some plates. Yeah. And I think I got up to like 335 or whatever. And I was repping it out. And just because you inspired me because I wasn't going to go that heavy. Yeah. But what I want to bring up though is, and I was talking to my kids, we go to the gym in the morning together. My 12-year-old, my 18-year-old, my wife.
That's awesome.
And I told my kids, I said, people watch you when you're in here. Yeah. You impact this whole gym when you're in here. True. One way or the other. Yep. You can slack and people look at that and then they're like, oh, I'll slack because they're slacking. Or you can bust your ass. As soon as I said that, the next day, my son was on the assault bike or one of those treadmills that you run yourself. Yeah. Right? And he was going hard. Yeah. And this guy came up to him and said, I wasn't going to run today, man, but I saw you in there. And it's perfect timing, right? Yeah, that is So perfect. We need to understand, like, we're living demonstrations one way or the other. And we get to choose, like, how do we want to impact the environment? Yeah, around us, right? Absolutely. And it's always people. I even if they're not, I pretend people are always watching me, right? You're right. Like,
you're walking, moving frequency and energy.
Yeah,
that's going someplace. Like I walked in here, dude. You can sense your authenticity, your energy.
Yeah,
I'm not
thanks, man.
sitting here blowing
Thank
smoke,
you,
right? I
thank
mean
you.
that. You can't fake a frequency.
Yeah.
And so when you're in there, you're committed, you're pushing hard, dude, that bleeds over into people. It doesn't go nowhere. People are absorbing it. And so a lot of what my message is, bro, let's be more deliberate about where we're at. That takes self-awareness. Bro, am I low? Am I high? Why? Well, let's raise it up. Bump your frequency up. Be aware of what energy you're bringing into the house. Like, I didn't say anything. Yeah, but are you being a fucking little poopy pants around the house, dude? That's going into your family. And so don't.
You just said poopy after saying the F word.
Yeah, dude, poopy pants, because it hits harder. I love it. You know, but it's that Funja face, man. It's like, dude, hold yourself to a higher standard. Dude, excuse yourself. Go out, go get some sunlight. Are you sodium deficient? There could be some simple physiological things you can fix quick. Man, do 10 push-ups. You know, it's not always possible, but you can raise your frequency up and then address problems, then communicate. All these pieces. Hold yourself to that standard. And it just takes some deliberate work.
How about supplements now? Peptides, you gotten into any of that biohacking longevity stuff?
Dude, I started learning about like NAD and stuff. I haven't really dove into the peptides and stuff. I'm a huge proponent of TRT. You know, I think TRT is helpful for a lot of people if, you know, you go do your blood panels and stuff. And I think that's helpful for people, you know, men who are, dude, if you're dragging ass, like, well, go talk to your doctor. What to say.
The right doctor.
Yeah, go talk to
a functional doctor.
Yeah, go get your blood panels.
Not the normal ones, because they don't test for the right stuff.
Yeah, go get your blood panel. Go talk to an actual TRT guy that's actually doing this stuff.
Yeah,
and dude, it's and then it's packed with the food. But going back to like the actual like leadership, not magnesium, multivitamin, those pieces too. But going back to the leadership piece, like you as a man or woman leading a family, dude, you're leading the pack, man. What you're doing, your kids are watching, your communities are watching. Hold yourself to that higher standard. It's not just about you anymore.
Right.
That transcending of self. Also, you can tap into a much better energy when you're not doing it for yourself anymore. You're like, dude, I don't have a choice. And that's how I record my things. I got a lot of clients that watch. They're like, is this dude gonna miss? No, I'm not gonna miss. Every fucking day for years, right? You'll see me do my Mike Tyson push-ups. I record that shit live, and I do it for a reason. Is because, dude, I can't miss. Yeah. Because if I stumble, people will fall. Yeah. And so I'm like, that's at least what I tell myself. It's not grandiose. That holds me to a higher standard, and it keeps me going. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I'm on enclomiphene, which is a non-suppressive testosterone peptide, because TRT will suppress your testosterone production of your own body if you're low enough. But I was in the mid range, and I wanted to get it up there. 5 weeks, doubled the testosterone.
Damn, dude.
And free testosterone, which is just as important.
Badass.
Doubled it in 5 weeks.
Damn, bro.
And so now I'm starting to see results from it. It's just amazing. I'm 48, you know what I mean? So I always want to be the best shape of my life. But as we wind down here, I want to talk about podcasting and what podcasting has meant to you and what you've seen from guesting on podcasts.
I can't understate the power of what podcasting has done for my brand, me, my business. It started, I was still in the Foreign Legion when I flew, you know, and did some podcasts in the United States. You know, I was like, it's worth the investment. I'll buy the flight, take all this stuff. And because people can, it's long form. People can really see what's your energy like, what's your charisma like. Also the network building. There's no substitute. Right. You're not going to get it from an ad, a 50-second ad. People who are also a committed potential client will invest the time to watch and do the research. Is this somebody that I resonate with? Yep. If it's not, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. That's fine. But you'll be able to know. And so, but if you're like, you know what, I kind of resonate with this guy's frequency, and say, perfect, because that's what that long form does, being able to sit down like this.
And I always talk about doing a lot of them, because you cannot fake. When you do a bunch of podcasts, you can't fake who you are.
No, it's going to get...
And you're having conversations with people. Bro. Yeah. And by the way, you mentioned something that some people will not vibe with you, and that's okay. Yeah. Like, how important is it, and this is the last thing, but how important is it that we repel the wrong people from us?
Dude, I think it's important for also them, right? Why waste each other's time? If you're like, dude, this guy's just not really hitting the mark, or I don't really identify with the path or the mode. Dude, let's not waste each other's time or money. I'm all for that. I can't help everybody, and I don't think I can. I think everybody could benefit from a simple blueprint that's better than what they're doing, 1,000%. Yep. But the actual communication piece and the interpersonal connection is important for me, and that's why I do one-on-one. I get a lot more out of it. It's hard. It's a lot of energy exchange. Yeah. But it's that ability to tailor and understand people, and as we talk and we communicate, your authenticity is going to show. Nowadays, people see so many interactions and body language with people, they can read bullshit a fucking mile away.
Yeah.
It's not like when we were caveman and you saw like 5 people a year. You know, now we're seeing millions.
There's a lot of contrast and context that you can get from all these, the volume of content. So you can see the difference.
100%. And so that volume of different interviews, also there's a different energy exchange, different questions, right? You're going to get a lot more. That's why that volume of explaining your message is so important.
Yeah. And it goes to being that one. Being that one, I developed this brand because I saw the people that were successful.
Name too.
Thank you. Thank you. The people that were being successful were finding out who they were authentically and not posing, not putting a shell up. And they were leaning into their insecurities, everything, leaning into it and separating themselves.
Yeah.
And so where can people go deeper with you, Taylor?
On my website, taylorcavanaugh.com. You get some of the stories, some pictures. That contact form goes right to me. I don't AI anything. I don't outsource anything. No sales, nothing. So that's going to go right to me. My Instagram, TCavOfficial, Johnny on the spot with those. You can hit me up. I'll respond. I'm very quick with that. Always, I take it very seriously. So I'm real
go follow his Instagram because you can do push-ups in the morning with him because he does it every morning. And it inspires me too. I'm like, why am I not doing this? You know, so
dude, I love those Mike Tyson push-ups, man. And then on my YouTube, Taylor Cavanaugh, right? TCav TV. I do all stream of consciousness videos, gym sessions with different characters around the United States, and we just like a podcast standing up. And then we dive into those deeper principles. And you see the story. You can go back to me in the Foreign Legion barracks room and then watch the progression from leaving France, having nothing, building a business, to getting engaged. Now I have a beautiful baby, man. And I live in a gated community on a golf course. And I've recorded every day of that path of just repetitions of acting right.
Yeah. You see the way to do it. And it's laid out in front of you. All right, folks, listen. I want to thank you for being here, watching, listening, however you're consuming this content. But I need you to go subscribe. First, go to Taylor Stuff. Then make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to That One Podcast. We have amazing guests like Taylor in all the time, man. We're doing this thing. And he's going to be out on a lot more podcasts. You can check him out. Be on the lookout for that. And until next time, be that one.